What's going on, everybody? Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of Unscripted. Listen, it's Tuesday night, later night than normal. You know what that means. Have some of the biggest, the baddest, the best wrestlers of today and yesteryear, and tonight is no different. I've been doing this for a long time, and there's something special about a hot tag phone call of someone just coming through and being clutch, man. So, of course, there was advertisement. We have over 3 million followers here on Sportskeeda wrestling, and stuff happens, and I believe I'll be getting a message in the morning with an apology, most likely that happens. But look, I was making some phone calls. I have a Rolodex full of people, and I had a good feeling that this person was going to come through in the clutch, and he's one of those people that I can count on, and I really appreciate. So I want to put him over before I bring him on here, man. He's been on my show several times. I always enjoy talking to him, and all the other times that he's been on has been great. But coming through in the clutch, he's all right with me, man. So that's an extra badge of honor for this guy. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, former Ring of Honor 6-man tag champ. Former Ring of Honor World Television champ. He is the Ring of Honor General. Shane Taylor, how are you, my man?
What's going on, bro? What's going on? Dr. Chris Featherstone, let me pay my respects before we begin. Absolutely incredible, man. As most of the people that know me know, I don't really sleep, so I got the call. I was like, "Who's good?" Oh yeah, I'm up. Let's do it, man. So thank you for having me on.
Always appreciate it, man. Always appreciate it. So without further ado, man, I got some questions for you. You ready to dive into them?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Before then, let's promote your stuff, man. You got any upcoming dates and appearances and things like that?
Brother, if we had scheduled this like earlier today, I probably have a whole book full of, plugs and all that, but you literally just caught me just sitting there folding clothes, watching TV, normal dad stuff, because my family doesn't think I'm special at all. And it's watching this show, School Spirits on Paramount Plus. Okay. And it's got me right now, bro. I'm only like 2-3 episodes in. It's got your boy hooked. So
nice.
anything that I promote in the next few days, go to Shane 216 Taylor at Instagram and Twitter. You'll catch all the stuff there. If you're in the merch buying mood, all the links are in the bio to all of that. But let's just get into these questions. You know what I'm saying?
I actually just posted your Twitter account on the chat.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Beautiful.
So just after the show, not during the show. we're live on the show now. So,
right.
So after the show, you see the chat on the
just one click.
Just click on it, and that's his stuff. So here we go. Kelvin is asking, what was your favorite match in your career?
Oh, wow, that's a hell of a question to start out with. Okay, there's been some incredible matches. Honestly, even though the television championship win at War of the Worlds is up there, the 6-man title win with my guys, Khan and Moses, is up there. I think my favorite match of my career came at an independent in Houston. Everybody knows my best friend in the world, is Ray Rowe, godfather to my kids, helped train me. For those that don't know that name, that's Eric of Viking Raider fame.
Yep.
Congratulations to him, his wife, to Ivar as well for being on WrestleMania, 80,000 sold out. That's absolutely incredible. I've watched this man, go from East Side Cleveland to the Tokyo Dome to WrestleMania. You know what I mean? It's wild.
Yeah.
Awesome. But when he had his accident a few years ago, it was up in the air whether or not he was going to wrestle again, whether he was going to do a lot of things again, and
motorcycle, right?
Yeah. Got into a bad motorcycle wreck, shattered his arm, had a bunch of injuries that went along with that. I was there that night in the hospital with him, and the road to recovery, through surgery, through everything, through all the ups and downs, through all the doubts. One of the first matches he had back, I believe the second match he had back, he had like a little warm-up match, but then his first real match back was against me at it was a place called Lone Star Championship Wrestling or something like that in Houston. And that match is probably my favorite match because for a number of different reasons. Because number one, it was his first match back, and to be standing across the ring from him to help him through that, to give him that confidence back, to reassure him, to let him know you're still who you are. Yeah. And wrestling me is not easy. You know what I mean? Like it's very physical. It's very, I bring it. So to be able to repay him of sorts from pushing me all these years and making me better, it felt like this was my turn to push him and help him, and so to be able then to go from, and we've always been peers, but to go from that trainee to I recognize you as a peer, type of switch, that felt great to me. And to be able to then see him go on to do all these amazing things, I think that performance, and we absolutely crushed it that night too. So I think that match is probably my favorite match in my career just because it meant so much.
Nice. August 15th, 2015. Yeah.
The power of Google.
Yeah. Let's see. Ryuto, what were your top 4 feuds of all time, and who are 3 opponents that you wish you had faced that you never did?
Okay, so you're gonna have to probably say the second part of that again.
Sure.
You said top 4 feuds.
Yep, of all time. Yep.
Okay, let me get to that one first. Top 4 feuds. Okay, obviously my feud with Kenny King is probably number 1.
Nice.
the story that we told for almost over 2 years, which wasn't the plan to tell a story for 2 years, but the way it connected and the way we made sense was dope to me. Yeah. You've got somebody who has seen every single champion in Ring of Honor, and we're talking about Kenny King. He left and came back, but he knows what it takes to get to the top of that mountain. He's seen them all. He's seen the Jay Lethals. He's seen the Jay Briscoes. He's seen the Samoa Joes, the CM Punks. He's seen the Nigel. He's watched them all. And to know that now, essentially, the guy that has been your little brother for the last 4 or 5 years in this company has an opportunity to do what at that time, only one other African-American male had done, which is Jay Lethal, which is win the Ring of Honor World Championship. He has an opportunity to do that. And from Kenny's perspective, he had watched me win the TV title, which only he and Jay Lethal had won previously. So he already knows that I can make history. I led STP to be the first all-black 6-man tag team champions. Yeah. Which, while we're on the subject, shout out to the boys, Brendan and Brandon Tate. They were actually the first 2 black males to hold those titles, along with Dalton Castle, who's a peacock. You know what I mean? So he's his own thing. Yeah. But to go and then further push that legacy with my guys was great. So he's seen me do these things. And I think at the time, Kenny was looking at the opportunity that I had, and he saw that my mind wasn't where it needed to be, at least in his opinion, to win that title, because I was so focused on what I was going to do for the group and where I was going to take my group. And like he was trying to explain to me throughout the story, there's only room for one at the top of the mountain. Only that world championship is not a tag team title. It's not a 6-man. You hold that alone. And his thing for me was bringing everybody else with you is great, but at some point you're going to have to take that step by yourself, and you've got to lead in a different way. And at the time, I think me wanting to conquer the world and wanting to do everything my way, I wasn't seeing that. So he did what he did, and he hit me in the head with a chair. And while I was pissed at the time, you can look back at that and then you go, okay, well, what if you had just lost the match, right? You might not ever have gotten another opportunity at the world title, and the one shot you had, you weren't really ready for. And that's something that would have haunted me my whole career. So I think in his own way, he saved me. But I definitely wasn't seeing it that way, right? So then it boiled down to LFI versus STP. We had battles all across the country that ultimately culminated in that final battle match in 2021 with myself and Kenny. Was able to beat him there. And during that match, during that process, everybody kind of talks about that killer instinct in basketball, right? Like you talk about Jordan and Kobe, they have that killer instinct. You just know you have to do something. There's no hesitation. You just do it, no matter what it is. And I think during that match, that's what Kenny brought out of me. And that's what then allowed me to get to a point where now I do believe if I get another shot at the Ring of Honor World Championship, I can win it. So that's probably my number one favorite feud there. I've had feuds, multiple matches with Jeff Cobb. He's been one of the only people to be able to beat me in singles action twice.
Yeah, but you beat him for the title, though.
Yes. But it's multi-man matches are different. Yeah. And you and I both know, like, if there was to be a group fight and you KO some guy, right? Because you know what I mean. Yeah. But that one-on-one scrap is much different, right? So that's one that I definitely want the chance to get in there with him again and rectify that. Brody King is another guy that we've had some incredibly physical matches. Those type matches are ones that bring an extra gear out of me because I enjoy the physicality. Trying to think of another feud. And honestly, yeah, me and Keith Lee versus War Machine, or Viking Raiders now, but they were War Machine when we first got to ROH. And the story there of me knowing Ray, my entire adult life, teaming with Keith, Ivar, who's partners with Eric, that ending with the no DQ street fight in San Antonio. That was, something that people are still talking about to this day. It was absolutely incredible. So those would probably be 4 feuds that really stand out to me.
Nice. Second part is 3 opponents that you wish you had faced that you never did.
It's so hard to say that because I've got a lot of time left in this sport and anything could happen. But right now, if I had to just go off the top of my head of who I haven't faced, number 1 is Samoa Joe. Stylistically, I feel like my run in Ring of Honor with the TV title is similar to his run with the world title, although he's held it much longer, right? But there's something about going to battle with someone who's not out here trying to, be the best catch can technical 5-star wrestler. Like you have guys that do that. I'm here to square up and punch you in the face. You know what I mean? And see who's really about that life. You know what I mean? Who's really gonna stand there and go toe to toe and fire those things off. And that's when you look at Joe, when you watch what he does, he's got such a mix of every kind of style. But when you really see him at his best, it's when people push him to do that. When they bring that Savage Joe out, Joey Headrocker, that guy, that's the guy that I want to fight. So Joe would be up there. Danielson's another one, but for the opposite reason. It's because styles make fights, and it'd be very interesting. Then you get that ultimate striker versus grappler matchup that everybody likes to see, who can impose their will on their opponent, make them fight their game plan. Yeah. Another guy that I always wanted to be in the ring with but never got the chance to was Nigel.
Okay.
Nigel was one of the hardest hitters in Ring of Honor. I actually got to watch Nigel versus Ray in Cleveland, and it absolutely lived up to the expectation. And it's funny because I've gotten to watch so many of my friends do awesome things, and I've always been one step behind them. I've accomplished a lot of the same things, but it's always been like one step behind. And so I think Nigel in his prime versus Shane Taylor in his prime, who is the hardest hitter, who's the best striker, who's got the better lariat, all those things, who can really bring that dog out. That's something that I would have wanted. And I want, before he's retired, I don't care if it's in the States, I don't care if it's in Japan, but I want Minoru Suzuki one-on-one.
Nice.
For all the same reasons that I just said. There are, when you look at someone like that who over the last 2-3 decades has just imposed fear and instilled fear in people, you want to test yourself against people like that. You want to see just where you measure up on that totem pole. So he would be another one that I would absolutely enjoy to have in there in that one-on-one fight.
Nice. All right, let's see. We got a few minutes left. Let's see here. Let's run through a few of these questions here. Richard is asking, do you want to be the next AEW TNT champion to take it from Hobbs?
If I say no, it sounds like that I don't want the championship or I don't recognize its prestige. And I absolutely do. And of course, a championship match with Hobbs would be great. Hobbs is a hell of a competitor. I think the matchup would be dope.
Yeah.
But I think Hobbs has earned his time with that with that championship, and I want to see what he does with it. I don't want to be the guy to come in and cut his reign short. You know what I mean? I see what he's done. I see the work he's put in. I've seen him backstage and how he carries himself. You know, as you know, from father to father. I want to see where he goes with this. So I'm anxious. I'm just as much a fan and watching what he does as anybody else. So I'm gonna say no, only because I don't want to be the one to take it from him.
I can respect.
But do I want an opportunity at the TNT Championship at some point? Sure. I think everybody does. As a competitor, just not now that he has it. Yeah. But I want every championship. Let's just get that out of the way. I want everything. I don't care. You know, my main goals being in Ring of Honor are to get back the 6-man championships that I didn't lose, that my team lost, and that's on me as the captain. But I want the rematch for those. I want my TV title rematch that I never got. And I also want my chance at the World Championship. So I've got a lot of business to take care of in ROH first. But once I complete all that, all them boys in AEW better understand that I'm the baddest of all time and I'm coming for what's mine.
Very nice. Evan's asking speaking of ROH, thoughts on Dante Martins' injury at this Supercard.
That's the negative part about this sport. You know, injuries happen. What we do is incredibly high risk. It's incredibly dangerous. The fact that we can do so many things with almost zero margin for error and survive most of them, you know, is a testament to just how skilled so many of these great men and women are. And obviously you never like to see anybody get hurt. I messaged them that night and told them, hey, you are going to get past this. You are going to heal from this quickly. You're going to recover and you're going to be back on top of the game in no time. This is, it sucks, you know? And I hate that in today's world, you know, it then becomes like a viral thing because it's, you know, gruesome. Because you never want to see that kind of stuff shared around because it's like it's bad enough that it happened. You don't want to have to keep re-seeing it. But obviously it's tragic. Prayers and all love goes to him and his brother and their family. But I'm sure they will have the best teams available to them, best doctors, and they're going to get it all squared away. And he'll be back in no time.
Indeed. Reese Hughes asking, what are your thoughts on the drama between CM Punk and Jon Moxley?
Not my business. It has nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me.
Do you think that it would Jon Moxley's view on AEW backstage, do you see merit with it, or from your experience AEW backstage, do you think that it's pretty solid back there?
I can only speak to my experience. What I've seen so far has been good, but again, none of what anybody else's opinions are, none of what anybody else has said has anything to do with me. So that's their business, not mine.
Yeah. So your experience is that the backstage has been pretty good.
From the few times that I've been there, yeah, it's been great. That's the only thing I got.
Yeah, you got your opinion on it.
Right.
That's all you got. Yeah. Let's see here. We got a few more. Relationship with Tony Khan is what Gornison is asking.
I think it's pretty positive. I've been able to talk with him a few times now. Got an incredible passion, and it is surprisingly knowledgeable on history. Like there are some people that when you talk to them about history, they can cite some things.
Mhm.
He's like encyclopedia of like wrestling history. Like, he'll be able to tell you names, dates, and places of things. You're like, oh damn, yeah, that's wild. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah, didn't he go to like an ECW event like back in the day? Like, didn't he go there live or something?
bro, I like you just got to know, like, you've got to be up on your homework if you're going to have a conversation with him about, you know what I mean? Like, you can't be slacking, like, cause you'll look silly. Like, he knows his stuff. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's from everything that I know, pretty positive. I'm excited to be able to be a part of everything going forward, and continue to build on that.
Nice. I would love to have a trivia, wrestling trivia contest with Tony Khan.
Oh, bro, it's that'd be a hell of a game show.
I'm ready for it. Let's Tony Khan, you see this? Me and you wrestling trivia. Let's do it. Last question of the night is what do you think of we'll do the first part of this. What do you think of the WWE UFC merger? Well, Endeavor buying
right.
WWE.
That's actually very interesting, right? It's been my take for years that when you get to a certain level of entertainment, and I'm just saying, we'll just say allegedly, right? From the gate, right? Just to cover all bases. When you get to a certain level of entertainment, I don't care what sport it is, I feel like strings are being pulled somewhere, right? No one's in the business of losing money, right? So you've got all these gambling sites, all this stuff, everything is what it is, right? It's all an entertainment. It is what it is, but no, like I said, no one's in the business of losing money, right? So I've always said that UFC was pro wrestling. Just you turn up the physicality all the way to the 10th. You know what I mean? And I feel like the more and more you see those crossover stars, the more you see the Rouseys going back and forth, the Counters going back and forth, the Chaels, the Riddles, you know what I mean? Like, it's only opened the door for me personally to go, yeah, I knew. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying nothing that's not, I'm not saying those athletes don't go out there and give it their all, or don't go out there and do what you know what I mean, leave it all on the line. I'm just saying it's all entertainment, and it's actually dope to see. But what I am happy about though is with that crossover, I feel like there's less animosity between the fan bases now.
Yeah,
I feel like years ago it was, if you were a UFC, you hated wrestling, and if you were wrestling, like, UFC fans were annoying because they just wanted to be like, it's not this and it's not that, it's not this. So now we're sitting back a few years later, and all the waters are kind of murky, and wrestling fans are like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's good to see that. And it sounds like it's a hell of a deal for both companies. Well, for all three. Yeah. And I look forward to seeing what's next, man. Like, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we got John Jones versus Brock Lesnar soon. You know what I'm saying? That wouldn't surprise me. I just saw him on Raw. He seemed to be pretty jacked. You know what I'm saying? He seemed to be pretty cut up. So he might be getting back in there. Can you imagine a Conor McGregor versus Dolph Ziggler? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, like a shoot wrestling match.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, bro, you got there's so many possibilities for something like this, and it may push, our side to then expound upon their training, right? Because if you're going to be in there with people who can box and do jiu-jitsu and wrestle and do all these things, you're going to have to step your game up too to compete, So Expounding upon skill sets has never been a bad thing. So we'll see. But I mean, dope for everybody involved. If that also, allows more people to be hired, more people to be paid, better contracts to help take care of their families, then hey, I'm all for it.
Do you see a joint promotion super show down the line?
I see them helping each other market, not so much a joint super show, because then again, it's one thing for the waters to be murky. It's another to mix the waters. You see what I'm saying? Like that's two different things. But I do feel like,
Vince McMahon.
Hey man, listen, stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. So who knows? But I feel like you'll definitely see a lot more cross promotion.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like you'll probably see more special guests. You'll see more wrestlers at their events, all kind of stuff, right? And vice versa. So it's an extremely good marketing tool for both companies to only go up. But yeah, I mean, who knows, man? The WrestleMania next year might be wild. We don't know. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
But have some UFC guys featured on WrestleMania next year.
Listen, man. It could be team like you've already got Rousey, you've got Brock. It could be team UFC versus team WWE, like a Survivor Series type thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Who knows, bro? Who knows? We've seen UFC fighters come into AEW. So you know what I mean? So the crossover between mixed martial arts and pro wrestling is already there.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff, man. Sean, Shane, it's been a pleasure, man. I really appreciate it so much, man. You coming through and
no more questions. Is everybody good?
Yeah, we're good, man. So I really appreciate you coming through, man. I put the links on the chat. Follow Shane Taylor at Shane216 Taylor, right?
Yes, sir.
That's Shane216 Taylor on Twitter, and you'll see all things Shane Taylor when it comes to future and upcoming events. Shane, it's been a pleasure, my man. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Great time.
Of course, Big Dog. Thank you for having me, and everyone else. Thank you for watching. Much appreciated. Much love.
Have a good night.
All right, boss.